What's going on, everybody? Movie Phantom here, and yes, it's Wednesday, and that means we're going to be reviewing some of these viewer comments, if you will, and questions. And I'm joined by my lovely girlfriend, Maya. Sorry. So yes, let's get right into it now, shall we? Josh Hobbs hit me up, and he asked, what are some of the worst horror films I have seen?
I only got one.
What?
Lord of Salem.
Now, see, you kind of hate a little bit of everything, though. Like, every time I watch a movie with you, you're like, it sucks. Stupid. The Lord of Salem sticks out.
Yeah.
That was a rough watch. I won't lie. That was rough. Man, I hate to be this guy, but I'm gonna be this guy. Typically, remakes. I'm sick of these remakes. The Crazies, The Fog. Oh, fucking Scream 4. I thought sucked. I wasn't huge on The Hills Have Eyes. I know everybody else did. I didn't care for it. And I can't always say it was a bad movie. It was just the same thing. Like I was bored because it was just like there was nothing different. It was pretty much shot for shot except for maybe a few minor details, and that is it. Last House on the Left remake sucked. When a Stranger Calls, that is literally probably one of the worst, if not the worst. In fact, I know for a fact, as far as all the movies I have reviewed myself, and I think I'm up to like 100 and almost 200, different reviews I've dropped on this channel alone. I will say right now, without a shadow of doubt, that When a Stranger Calls is the worst movie I've ever seen, horror movie that I reviewed on here. It's utter garbage. So, yeah, I mean, I don't like that. I know it's very cliche to be like, well, remakes suck, but my God, most of them do. Not to say there aren't some good ones, but for the purpose of this question, yeah, most of them are remakes, and they mostly suck. So there you go. Hope that will suffice right there. So I was bitching a couple days ago about how they're doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show remake, and 30 Wolfman jumped on and was talking, and he made the comment, they'll probably cast like Neil Patrick Harris as Frankenfurter. And you know what? I like Neil Patrick Harris, and it's still not enough for me to even be like, I am so against this fucking remake. You have no idea. I'm getting angry right now just thinking about this remake. I don't do this. Normally, if they remake a movie I like, I'm just kind of like, fuck it. I don't care. I hope they'll bomb. But this is just, I don't know. This is just sacrilege right here. And along the same lines, Torture Vision hit me up, and he says he agrees that this is just horrible. You can't recapture that magic that the first one has. I mean, you just can't. You can't duplicate that. I mean, just all the right elements were there. The fact that it bombed and then became this like huge hit like after the fact, you can't duplicate that. So I don't know. I am not looking forward to this. I just know they're gonna fucking glee it up. They're gonna glee the shit out of this fucking soundtrack. Like I don't know. I just feel like, who's the kid that died? The Finn. What was his real name? Corey. Corey something. I feel like they're just gonna try to reanimate his body. Might as well just bring him back, and it'll still be. It's horrible. Fuck you, Glee. So Ghostface Kid hit me up, and he had 4 questions here. He said, first question is, if I was to make a slasher film, what would I have my killer look like? That's a good question, because that can make or break your slasher movie. I mean, you have a distinct look. It helps you out. If it's generic, not so much. Although, I mean, arguably one of the best looking slashers was Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine, and it just kind of got buried into obscurity for fucking ever until, the remake was made. And even that was like 2009, I believe. So, I mean, we're still don't have a sequel to that. So, just because you have a cool looking slasher don't necessarily mean you're going to get a franchise. I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I've had this question now for a couple nights now, and I'm just blanking on it. I guess on top of my head, because I've had a couple ideas if I was to, write a slasher, what they'd look like. But they do tend to be more on the generic side, because, I mean, to me, that's more real, it's more frightening. I always had an idea for a killer who was possessed, but it was almost like, I guess he's a zombie, pretty much. He would have been a zombie. I mean, even though he doesn't have the, he still moves kind of quick and everything, but for the most part, I mean, he is being controlled by something that's not himself, so he's possessed or, a zombie, but he was an average guy, except he was losing his hair because, he's not getting the nutritions or nutrients or whatever the case may be. So he's very pale faced, losing his hair, and he actually got I'd have him have a scar. It went right across his eye, so he was blind. But once again, because he was being pushed by an outside force, he didn't really need to see. So that's how I would do that. What about you, Sweetie? If you used to make your own slasher,
The killer slasher?
yeah, the killer. Like how would the killer look if you used the?
It would be half devil and half shapeshifter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a shape-shifting devil, but he's a slasher.
Yeah.
That's how the killer. Okay. All right. Fair enough. His next question is, what are my thoughts on the whole Adam Sandler ruining the Nightmare on Elm Street prequel? I just read this the other day on Facebook, actually,
Not
and
really nothing.
can't read anything about it. The basic story is the director, I forget the director's name, but he did Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Right after New Nightmare, or maybe it was the year before, I think it was after New Nightmare, he was offered a job of doing a prequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. And his idea was, let's take Freddy to hell. Like, he gets killed, the family lynches him, so he's going to set this, movie in hell to see how Freddy kind of acquires his powers and everything. And it's a pretty interesting idea. I would like to see how that worked out. However, Little Nicky came out and bombed. And it was a critical piece of shit. Like, no one liked it. No one.
I liked it.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Right there.
We don't own it, do we?
Thank God. Anyways, so when it bombed, New Line Cinema was like, yeah, we're no longer putting movies in hell for right now. And so they told him, you can't set it in hell because Little Nicky just bombed. And then he pretty much just said, fuck it. Done. And he just walked away. Indirectly, Adam Sandler ruined his chances of the Nightmare on Elm Street prequel. But I don't like Adam Sandler anyway, so fuck him.
Funny.
He is not. He used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time. That was during the stage where I was just like, fuck Sandler. Like, I was done with him. Like, I just...
I like some of his movies, but...
I like his early stuff. I'm a big fan of, like, Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, Wedding Singer. I mean, I've gone through this list so many times. Bulletproof. These are good movies. And then he just... I don't know. He started sucking. I wouldn't go that far. So yeah, it's my thoughts are like I always hate when a franchise gets like hindered in any way, because I mean it was a long time. Actually, yeah, because it took forever between New Nightmare and fucking Freddy vs. Jason. So yeah, I guess it kind of really threw a monkey wrench in things. But yeah, I'm not really blaming Sandler. I mean, his movies suck. I'm blaming New Line for giving Sandler the power to make shitty movies. So yeah, my blame's more on New Line on that one. And then he asked, how do me and you decide what to watch next? Because we have like extreme opposite taste in movies. So how do we decide who watches what and when?
I don't know.
She don't know. See, now whenever I say, they're going to think I'm lying because it's like, she wouldn't answer. Typically we go back and forth. That's usually just the thing. Usually I'm just like, your turn, pick something to watch, and we just go back and forth. And at this point, it is so automatic that, it's never like, you already watched your movie. It's like we just do it. So that's usually what we do, and that goes for rentals or
we take
TV.
turns renting movies.
Yeah. And then theater-wise, we usually try to, we cut it down because we try to go to the movies at least twice a month, and she'll pick one and I'll pick one. So that's usually how we do that too. So yeah, just take turns. That's the kind of thing. So, and that works out. I mean, as much as I bitch about watching all her movies, she has to watch all my movies too. So it's payback. It's payback for sure. And then finally, what's your favorite line from a horror film? Man, there's so many good ones, but the first one that came to mind, so I'm gonna use that one when I read this question, was in Devil's Rejects when Otis, looking at the guy and he's like, next words out of your mouth better be some brilliant Mark Twain shit, because it is definitely getting chills on your tombstone. I fucking love that. That's just, I don't know, funny as shit. Caught me off guard when I watched it for the first time. I was laughing. I was like, oh, brilliant. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that quote right there. What about you, Sweet? You got a favorite line from a horror film?
I'm trying to think.
No.
Off the top of my head.
That's alright. I kind of hit you on that. You just asked that, but we just reviewed these just right before the camera came on. So that's kind of a dick I am. I don't really give her the questions until right before we get on here. So, and then so thank you, Ghost. I appreciate that. Colleen Polly. I'm gonna say Colleen. I don't know. I'm horrible at names, guys. I'm sorry. I really am. Colleen Polly. I talked about Phantasm on Facebook not long ago, and how they there's supposed to be like over 3 hours of footage in the original cut of Phantasm, but Don Coscarelli, he cut a majority of it out. Majority of it wound up in part 4, or not majority, but a good chunk of it came out in part 4. And on my DVD, there's a shitload of deleted scenes. Like, it's just ridiculous how much stuff they cut out. But she says that, she's glad because she's tired of, like, all these long movies, like, But she says she's also sad because in the same sentence, I also mentioned that, however, a lot of that footage now is considered lost. And she's like, well, she hates to see that it's lost, but at the same time, she thinks 3 hours is too long for a movie. I think the movie's good. It could be as long as it needs to be. I forget how long Seven Samurai is, but I want to say it was like 4 hours, maybe even a little bit longer. I can't remember the exact time. Magnolia is another one that's a really long movie. But those movies just keep my attention. Like, as soon as I get into it, I'm just like, bam, I'm there. Fucking love them. So yeah, I mean, I can see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have yet to watch Wolf of Wall Street, Martin Scorsese movie with DiCaprio, and just because of the time, because whenever I do finally get time to watch a movie, it's usually like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm kind of half tired, so I'm looking for like a little 90-minute chunk of a movie to watch. And I go to watch it, and I'm like, son of a bitch, it's like 3 hours. Fuck. And I want to see that so bad. I've yet to make time to watch it. And I get lazy. Like now with Netflix, I have gotten even lazier on watching movies because I'm just like, that's there. I'll watch it later. Like, I have it. It's never going away. And then they do kind of switch shit out every now and then. So I need to get on that. I know I need to get on that. But yeah. Warren Cocking asked, if I was to be a wrestler, a professional wrestler, what would my gimmick be?
Gimmick?
Like your character. Like, what character would you be on, like, in wrestling? And, but I think it's obvious. I'm a Phantom. I would carry that tradition on proudly. I think I would not be a wrestler. I am way too chunky and out of shape. Like, I get winded doing this. Like, as soon as I hit the camera off, I'm like, got like an oxygen tank over here. I'm just like, it's brutal. It really is. So I would not make it in that ring at all. Like, I get in there, get gassed out pretty quickly, and then the dude hit me at the finisher. So I would probably want to be a manager, and I feel like I'd be like a Paul Bearer or a James Mitchell type, manager, just that cult leader type guy. Just the guy stirring up shit, bringing the dark forces to the company, and just trying to lead my guys to the championship. And I'll be dirty as hell. I'd be a bad guy for sure. Like, I'm cheating the entire way. I'm the guy who trips you up in the ropes, or you're about to make a pin, and I'm distracting the referee and shit. That's me. That's me right there. So, what about you, Sweetie? What would your character be? A. So you just be. That's not even the original character.
It's a character.
Okay, alright. So you'd be A. So there you go, my man. And finally, we got Victor Washington of the Horror Squad. And I was talking about Five Nights at Freddy and how I just don't see how the movie, because once again, it's 5 nights. Like, a security guard goes to the job for 5 fucking nights, and each night he's being attacked by these animatronic things, and which is just ridiculous, because you're like, okay, I can see one night you survive, get the fuck out of there. You would not go back. And if you did have to go back for whatever reason, you would not be compelled to go back 3 more nights. And he agreed. He actually did an entire video. If you guys want to check that out, I recommend checking. Check out his page. I'm sure anybody who's watching me already knows who the Horror Squad is. But yeah, he just did a video, or they just did a video recently talking about how what they think that Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to be, and how they don't really think it's going to be fine. But I'm like, how can you call it Five Nights at Freddy's if they're going to have to change the title, like Freddy's, a night at Freddy. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've yet to play any of the games, so I really don't know anything about this other than just the summary and the fact they're making a movie. But I'm sure like the sequels have like subtitles, so I'm sure you can use one of the subtitles or whatever. So, all right, well guys, that is it. If you have any comments you want to throw at us. Questions, not just for me, but for any of the guests I've ever had. Of course, not just on this video, you can leave comments on. Sorry, we ate before we started doing this, and I get indigestion bad. You can leave questions on any of the videos. They will all wind up here. So, like I said, you guys got comments, questions, recommendations, requests for movies for us to review. I don't know, hate mail. I love some hate mail. You can just bust my balls hardcore. I won't cry much. I may cry afterward. I always say that. I've yet to really just be like verbally raped by anybody good, so I'm sure if someone actually said something that would sting, I'd cry. I'd cry. But yeah, you know, hate mail, love mail. Fuck it, don't have to be horror related. I'm always down for answering just oddball fucking questions. So, you guys know what to do. You got comments, you always leave them down below. You got video responses. You know, hit the link up there, you copy it, you paste it down below. And of course, my bros over on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, I'm there all the time, so leave your comments and questions there. So, Sweetie, you got anything else to add? You like turned into misery. You're just like always on your phone over there.
No.
Ridiculous. Alright, well, on behalf of my girlfriend Maya, I am the Movie Phantom, and